Channel 68.1 in Mansfield, the only media outlet delivering North Central Ohio on TV, web, and mobile devices. Reaching all of North Central Ohio, this is WMFD.
We've been a part of Mansfield's history since 1962. Mix 106.1. Mix 106.1.
Hey, the program's I Love My Job, we always appreciate it. Thank you for watching us. Tonight we have an extremely special guest with us from Dublin, Ohio, Dr. Christiana Gordon.
Correct.
Hey, thank you very much for being on I Love My Job.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I don't think there's a person in the state that loves their job more than I do.
Well, good for you. Congratulations.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good, good. Who is Dr. Gordon?
Dr. Gordon is actually my dad, but
okay.
I'm the person who decided to kind of carry that on in the next generation. And I am here partly because I went to medical school with our coroner here, Stu Rickman.
Stu Rickman.
And Stu Rickman realized that I was working with veterans coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan who are suffering that silent injury, the traumatic brain injury, and probably not being diagnosed and treated to the degree that they need to. And that's why I started my foundation, in order to bring that awareness to the civilian world that, 1% of us are now going to war, but the other 99% of us should be somewhat responsible for the reintegration process coming back. Our service personnel love their job too.
Yes.
The problem is after they're done serving and have wounds of war, they're let out. And so what we need to do is help them pick up the pieces to get education and health care and employment so that they can find another service-oriented job so that they can enjoy themselves as well and live a life of meaning.
Okay, so the point of it is the organization that you founded,
yes,
okay, is Resurrecting Life
Foundation. Right. Resurrecting Lives says I'm a rehab physician. So I've worked before with traumatic brain injury, and I've been fortunate enough to have my own traumatic brain injury. And I say fortunate enough because when these young men and women come back, within like 5 minutes of talking to them, you know that you've been where they are. Now, yeah. I was not there because of a war injury. I was there because of putting up Christmas decorations. And yet, the experiences of coming out and being a little hypervigilant and being unable to remember things and having a loss of direction in your own small town, all of those I can identify with. So I feel very close to them in the fact that I know it took a while for me to get rehabilitation, and I was in this specialty, and I was in my 40s. So like I tell my little heroes coming back, I had a lot stored on my hard drive. So when a lot went down, there was still a lot to work with. And we're now working with young 18, 19, 20-year-olds who have maybe had 3 to 8 blast injuries from those improvised explosive devices, which I think all of America got to see at the end of the Boston Marathon, just explode in front of them. Only in the war zone, they're much more powerful than that. I mean, they can turn over tons worth of equipment with one flick of a cell phone or one flick of a switch. So
okay, now that's the IED that they talk about.
Correct, the improvised explosive device, IED, and it is the weapon of choice in these wars, and it is what is affecting our young men and women who are there.
But we had just a small, and maybe that's a poor word, experience with that in Boston, right?
Right, it was, and yet you could see the havoc
yes.
that brought about to all those people. I mean, we had 3 people lose their lives instantaneously.
Yeah, oh, yes.
We had the great loss of a limb, and I think we see soldiers coming back from war, and we see, well, they've lost, their limbs, and that makes us feel like they've been to war, but for every limb injury, there's a brain injury. Approximately 450,000 traumatic brain injuries in these wars throughout our nation, and about 15,000 young men and women in Ohio who will be suffering from a blast injury from an improvised explosive device. And we need to keep that in mind.
Wow. Wow.
It's a very staggering number. And like so many people, I think, throughout the United States, I said, I listened to the president and I went to them all. You know, and I was there for 5 years until a friend of mine lost her son in Iraq. And it was his loss of life that made me say, you know, I can't bring Zachary back.
No.
But I can honor him by taking care of his brothers and sisters who return. And that was kind of the beginning of Resurrecting Lives. Bringing back somebody from war who has made it back from war. They're a survivor. And yet, as their parents and their spouses and their children will tell you, they're not completely back.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that these young men and women have experienced and have seen go beyond our imagination.
Sure.
They certainly went beyond my imagination.
Yeah. Well, then I've got to ask you, where is our Veterans Administration? Where's the VA?
Well, you know, the VA, I think, was a great organization and was founded, I think we have to remember, in the 1930s, you know. So it was in the 1920s and 1930s where the difference between getting your health care in a small town and getting your health care in a large city were not that different.
Okay.
You know, we had penicillin and we had sulfa, you know. That was it.
Okay.
You know, we had aspirin, we had hot packs and cold packs. And it's different now. We need a system where the Veterans Administration Hospital is partnering, is collaborating with the tertiary medical schools. In Ohio, we have 7 medical schools. We need those medical schools to be partnering with the Veterans Administration Hospital, accepting patients, being part of a contractual basis. Because right now the technology that is actually diagnosing these brain injuries is not found at the typical VA. The typical Veterans Administration hospital has an MRI and a CT scan. Those do not check these lesions.
Okay.
It takes much more specialized equipment, diffusion tensor imaging, a specialized MRI piece of equipment that is found at the medical schools, but not found at our VAs and not found at our outboxes. Now, Cincinnati is one of the more progressive in Cleveland, you know, are doing some things now, but we're 12 years into the war. You know, what I find in the civilian world is a quick response. We saw the response that happened in Boston.
Yes, yes.
And these people were, I mean, a lot more lives would have been lost, truly, if they weren't in the greatest healthcare system we have in the United States, which is, you know, Massachusetts General, Brigham Women's Hospital. Those people have always partnered with the Veterans Administration in Boston.
Okay.
But routinely throughout the nation, those partnerships have not existed. And that's one of the things that we want to increase awareness about and increase those collaborative efforts through the Resurrecting Lives Foundation.
Okay. Let me take a quick break.
Okay.
We're talking to Dr. Gordon. She's from Dublin, Ohio, and obviously the founder of Resurrecting Lives Foundation. We're talking about veterans. We're talking about those men and women who are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan who have brain injuries. And this is what she's all about, and this is what this foundation is all about. So you got to watch this program. Call your friends and neighbors. I mean, immediately, right now. Everybody needs to know how we can help these people. I'm coming right back. How about you?
Here are just some of the latest job openings on MansfieldAreaHelpWanted.com.
Caring people are being hired in Mansfield right now to help individuals in their homes. Part-time bookkeeping position open for 15 to 20 hours per week. Must be proficient in QuickBooks and Excel spreadsheets. Director of Pharmacy needed at Kindred Hospital in Mansfield.
If finding a job close to home is important, then check out MansfieldAreaHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
In your time of need, trust Werner Gump Funeral Services, 1106 Park Avenue East, Mansfield.
I have an announcement to make.
Why do you have a cat and a fanny pack?
Why I'm making my graceful transition into spinsterhood. I have adopted this cat, named her Emily Dickinson.
On the next 30 Rock.
Thursday at 9 on WMFD.
Lemon, I don't share this often, but this is a photo of me when I was 25 years old.
What the what? You have a Superman chest.
I know.
Next time on 30 Rock.
Thursday at 9:30 on WMFD.
Unexpected travel delays are a real hassle, but now you can avoid them. WMFD.com and the Ohio State Highway Patrol have teamed up to bring you the Spitzer Motors Road Patrol. Daily messages sent to your cell phone or email, containing travel information you need before you hit the road. Everything from road conditions to road closures sent to you immediately. To sign up, go to WMFD.com and click on the Spitzer Motors Road Patrol, or text OSHP to 74574.
Once again, you're watching I Love My Job, and once again, we're talking to Dr. Gordon, MD, now from Dublin, Ohio, who is the founder and the promoter, the collaborator, the runner, doing everything for our veterans, particularly that aspect, that veteran who have suffered from brain injury,
Correct.
TBI.
Exactly, TBI. We hear a lot about it now, thanks to the NFL, thanks to the NCAA, and our sports injuries that we've had. So we're doing a lot more for traumatic brain injury right now. The difficulty is that throughout the United States, only 8 to 10% of all physicians actually know or treat traumatic brain injury, and they are primarily in the sports world. So you're not going to find them at a Veterans Administration hospital. You're going to find them in the tertiary care centers. You're going to find them at the sports complexes. But we need to somehow join their area of expertise with, like I said, the nearly 450,000 veterans throughout the nation that need their services.
And how many did you say in the state of Ohio alone?
Between 12 and 15,000 is the estimate. It's quite a staggering number.
Yeah. Whoa. You know, Dr. Gordon, I'm reading your pamphlet, and I mentioned this to you off camera, and let me just refer. I find this very fascinating due to the respect that we just experienced this terrible tragedy in Boston. And obviously this pamphlet was written before that, and it's every veteran deserves the standard of care provided by the Massachusetts General Hospital in cooperation with the Boston VA.
Exactly. That's what I really want to help bring out. I think that as a nation we need to make that movement. Right now, about 80% of our all-volunteer military comes from the rural areas. That's why I'm so thankful to be here in Mansfield, and thanks to AMVETS Post 26 for contacting me and getting me up here, because this is where our heroes are coming from. They're coming from the heartland. We need to get the medical services to them. And we can do that through excellent community hospitals linked up to the VA, linked up to the tertiary medical centers, or through the new device, telemedicine, where a young hero here could go to their physician's office and be hooked up with a TBI specialist anywhere in the nation to help them work through the events that they will have to. They'll have to work through memory, they'll have to work through learning, reaction times, anger issues. You know, there's a lot to work through when you've had a traumatic brain injury.
Wow. Let me refer to another comment here that I read, and it says, since the Gulf War, 3.2 million service personnel have been deployed to the war zone, many with multiple deployments.
Yes. The multiple deployments is new. The fact that we are sending the same people back again and again. I mean, I was really shocked, first of all, to find out that in these wars, 330,000 women have served. And I think that that is really amazing. And if you talk to some of these women, as I had, the fact that they were just granted to be in the combat zone doesn't mean that they haven't been in there from the very beginning.
Sure.
You know? Not to the same degree as their male counterparts, but we have about close to 70 deployments of our National Guard and our reservists and our Marines, Coast Guard and Navy here in Ohio alone. We really, Ohio, I think, has as kind of a sleeper in the fact that we have the 6th largest veterans population in the nation. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are a patriotic state. So that's why I think that this is so exciting to have this movement born here. You know, we are here to take care of that 6th largest veterans population. And we can do that by collaborating with our 7 medical schools, by getting the little communities involved, because they are the people who are going to notice that this young man coming back or this young woman coming back is struggling. They're having trouble trying to hold down a job, or they're having trouble trying to feel like they belong again. You know, so much of what our veterans do, and again, they do love their job, and part of their job, their major part, is to protect us. So when they come back, they try to protect their friends and family and church members from all the horrors that they've seen. And that's to be laudable. However, they need to be able to work through them in some safe place. And we need professionals who are willing to work with them, employers and healthcare providers.
Need to take another quick break. TBI is what we're talking about. We're talking about veterans, Afghanistan and Iraq, and this doctor is making a difference. And you can help. We're coming right back.
Hi, we're Larry and Donna Bentz, and we'd like to welcome you to Avon in downtown Mansfield.
Avon is North Central Ohio's leading buyer of gold and silver coins, jewelry, and other collectibles. Avon also pays cash for guitars, tools, DVD movies, video games, silver and china, antiques, and much more.
If you're selling, we pay cash.
Whether buying or selling, you'll find Avon prices competitive and their service outstanding.
Stop and see us soon
at Avon in downtown Mansfield.
Positive Hits 99.3 The Light. The Light can be heard live on the World Wide Web at 993thelight.com and available to more than 50,000 people on the WMFD app. Also heard on Mansfield's first and only HD radio station, WVNO HD2. This is Mansfield's Positive Hits 99.3 The Light.
The Chris Matthews Show. More and more viewers are waking up to the hottest Sunday morning show. Smart, unconventional, and always entertaining. Foreign policy calls it indispensable. Chris and the nation's top journalists are redefining political talk with the best roundtable on television. Go beyond the headlines. Don't miss the Chris Matthews Show.
In times of joy, in moments of grief, we are there. When the world looks for truth, broadcasters come through, even when all else fails. Today, with more ways than ever to experience the moments that transform our lives, Americans still choose broadcast television and radio more than all other media combined. We are the local broadcasters of radio and television.
Okay. Well, Dr. Don Robson with the AMVETS, Post 26, the commander out there, gave us a tremendous correlation. Let me just repeat it to you. He claims that 20 years ago in another war called Vietnam, there was a thing called Agent Orange, but it took 20 years for people to say, oh, yeah, that's a problem.
Right, exactly. And the difference with Agent Orange and traumatic brain injury is the amount of time that elapsed between the exposure and the complications, neuropathy, diabetes, and cancer. And they were horrific. And they happened over 20 to 30 years with the Veterans Administration Hospital just kind of owning up to them. The problem with the traumatic brain injury is they don't have that long, because the consequences for a chaotic brain are that of unemployment and homelessness and substance abuse and incarceration and suicide. And I know we've all seen the staggering numbers that 1.3 members of Iraq or Afghanistan veterans kill themselves every day.
Whoa.
1.3. For instance, the homelessness rate for Vietnam, it took an average of 7 years for a Vietnam veteran to become homeless. It's taking 7 weeks from the time that our heroes are deployed back home. So the downward spiral in a traumatic brain injury is unlike any other organ system in the human body. It is what controls you. You know, so that's why I am on such a mission here to get these young men and women diagnosed as soon as possible and get them the help that they need with cognitive retraining. They don't just need medication. As a matter of fact, with traumatic brain injury, some of the medications given for post-traumatic stress actually inhibit the brain from coming back to its natural state. So we need to really get cognitive retraining, vocational retraining, and connection.
But needless to say to you or to my audience, this all costs money.
It does cost money, and that's why we all need to get together. I know that the Veterans Administration Hospital, with the sequester, with everything going on in Washington, is not going to be able to handle this as swiftly as we need to. So that's why I'm calling upon what I call our civilian army. You know, the 99% of us who did not go to war, to do what we can. What we hope to do with our foundation is to accurately lead to research to diagnose what the traumatic brain injury is of the IED blast, and then to develop the protocols necessary to take care of it as soon as possible. And that's what the AMVETS Post 26 is helping us with right now with their upcoming fundraiser.
Yeah, and I've got some details here, and we're talking about a rock and roll festival for Ohio's wounded heroes.
Exactly.
And again, supporting your foundation is what we're talking about. By the way, Saturday, the 11th of May, 12 to 12.
Exactly. And I do want to point out that we are different. We are homegrown. We are a new nonprofit organization, and 100% of the donations will go toward our first, research protocol that we're working on. We're already going to be sending our first 5 members from Ohio to get the accurate diagnosis with that specialized diffusion tensing imaging I was talking about. So whoever contributes to the InvestRegis, 100% of those will go directly toward that particular research project to help these young men and women out.
Okay, so we're talking about AMVETS Post 26, and again, that's at 1100 West 4th Street, and that's on Saturday, May the 11th. 12 hours, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Let me go just through a few things, or maybe you can help me with all this. Rock and Roll Festival for Ohio's Wounded Heroes, featuring 10 bands.
I know, it is amazing, and the amount of donations. I will tell you that I really do believe that your community should be a gold standard for community involvement.
Thank you.
This has been just an amazing outpouring, and the things that have happened, I will tell you directly, because of just them talking about this fundraiser, we've had 4 young heroes contact us that I don't think would have contacted us, and are on their way toward a better life.
Great.
That were not that way when they first, heard about this. So, it's that pay it forward. That's what we're trying to do.
Thanks to Post 26, the
Absolutely.
AMVETS. Once again, food and beverages will be available to purchase. There will be a $5 cover charge. Minimal $5. Come on, that's nothing. Very, very inexpensively. Again, I'm going to repeat and repeat, May the 11th. And all of the dollars that go to this rock and roll, or come from this rock and roll festival.
Well, everything that comes to us, I'm sure that they have some things that they have to cover, but
absolutely.
everything that goes, 100% of our donations go toward veteran services, diagnosis, treatment protocols, getting that under the wire. So yes, we are doing that. We are an all-voluntary board. We have the former Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Evelyn Stratton, who you all know because she got the first veterans courts in Ohio. We're here in Mansfield with Judge Alt. She's just phenomenal. We have Brigadier General John Harris of the Ohio National Guard also sits on our board. So we have some very interesting people that are helping to do exactly what we want to do, bridge that gap between military and civilian.
Yeah, great. Well, okay, I need to take a quick break, he's telling me. All right, we'll be back with more of I Love My Job, and once again, the Rock and Roll Festival for Ohio's Wounded Heroes, right here at Post 26, AMVETS.
What could you accomplish without daily pain?
How would you look without frown lines?
Wouldn't your life be better without migraines?
What if you could regain your sexual stamina?
You can at Interventional Spine and Pain Management.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Stratansky. I have options that can help you recapture the fun, youthful lifestyle you've been missing.
Call Interventional Spine and Pain Management today, 419-522-1100. That's 419-522-1100.
Bad Date Blunder number 12, sponsored by Cupid.com.
This is the craziest date story ever. Mr. Lobster. Okay, so our date's at this restaurant. And they both ordered the ravioli. And suddenly, he starts turning red. He was allergic to the lobster and the ravioli. We spent 13 hours in the ER. I couldn't just desert him. He looked like a monster.
Dating can be tough. Make it easy. Go to Cupid.com now and meet someone special.
Cupid, 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 Cupid.com.
Need to purchase a car with peace of mind? Buy from a local dealer through the Exit Local link at WMFD.com. When you buy from local dealers like Donley Ford of Shelby, you're supporting local schools and services. WMFD.com's Exit Local link gives you instant access to over 3,000 new and used cars from local dealers at work, at home, and on your mobile phone. Follow the Exit Local link at WMFD.com to save gas and money by clicking the Exit Local link at WMFD.com.
Okay, once again, we've introduced you to Dr. Gordon, and she is the founder of this foundation, and we're talking about TBI,
Correct.
traumatic brain injury, and we're talking about our veterans.
Right, and how we're going to get them diagnosed and treated and back into a life where they can have a long-term employment and a future, because right now, if your brain is chaotic, it's very difficult to do that.
And you are joining hands with AMVETS Post 26.
Yes, we are. We're so proud to. So thank you so much.
To raise dollars, and of course that's what this is all about. And once again, we talk about this upcoming event on May the 11th, Rock and Roll Festival for Ohio's Wounded Heroes. That's right here in Mansfield, Ohio. You can come from California. We don't care where you come from. Bring your money. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. And I think this is so helpful too. I really want to thank you because, I mean, truly, like I said, I love this job as a volunteer. I am not kidding you. This increased awareness, because everybody who's listening today knows a veteran. Everybody knows somebody who's come back or a friend of theirs. Don't assume that everything is fine. I mean, don't be intrusive, but do kind of be watchful for them. If you find somebody who's unemployed, find something for them to do. Find an employer willing to train them. Because I will tell you, as one of my heroes told me, he says, I was willing to give my job for my last employer. You cannot find a harder working group than our young, all volunteer military. That's for sure.
So this is an opportunity for you and I to do something for our homecoming veterans. Back from Afghanistan, back from the Persian Gulf, back from Iraq, and what they had to go through and what they have suffered. And that's what this good doctor is all about. Once again, it's a rock and roll festival for Ohio's Wounded Heroes. Saturday, May the 11th. Saturday, May the 11th. Put that on your calendar. Tell your friends and neighbors. You gotta come to this. 12 hours, 10 bands, food, beverage. It just goes on and on and on and on.
Exactly.
And you can be a major contributor. Dr. Gordon, my time is up. I can't thank you enough for what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate your coming on. I love my job.
I do. I love my job. And thank you so much for having me here. And thanks, AMVETS Post 26. And thanks to your coroner, Dr. Stu Rickman, who shared an anatomy class with me and kept in touch. So thank you.
Good. Good for Stu. Don Robson is the commander out at AMVETS. This is the guy that's ramrodding this whole event, doing a wonderful job. If you need more information, give AMVETS Post 26 a call. Tell them what you could do, that you want to make a contribution in the meantime. It's our wounded heroes we're talking about, these young men and women who have served God in our country, and we love them for that. And here's a chance for you, as a civilian, to throw in your help, your contribution. Dr. Gordon, thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
I'm Doug Fager. You've been watching I Love My Job. We're coming back next week. I don't know how we can beat this show. It's a great one because we need your help now. Thanks a lot, and good night.
U.S. Farm Report, covering the country way of life, a great way of life.
You're watching WMFD.